day and people and welcome back to another stream. I'm Myao Palakisu, and today, I'm talking about frogs. You see with the thumbnail, you click on the video, it's frogs, that's what I'm talking about. So, frogs. Or what frogs in Froglore. So, like, really have a reason why I decided to use vlogs this week. Oh, this one. I just wanted to, I guess. I've been using the captions for a while. And it really isn't great for my voice. Maybe I should have it. Oh. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have a reason for doing vlogs this week. Oftentimes I'll be like, oh, it's cat day, or it's male awareness month, or what have you. There's nothing like that. I just thought, I haven't done a proper Froglore stream this month. I don't want to do at least one per month. What could I do? Vlogs. So I'm doing vlogs. Vlogs in Froglore are quite interesting because they're very widespread. They're very common all over the globe, really. So there's a ton of different stories about them. And there's some very interesting similarities in the stories. I mean, not always, but you know. But it is interesting. And I don't have as many like straight up folk tales per se. I do have a lot of motifs and anecdotes that I'd like to go over. Actually, you know what, let's dive right into it. And going to the first story, which, as I said, it's an anecdote rather than a folk tale, per se. Now, this is a Welsh tale. It's of Celtic origin, though calling that is, I mean, it is in a way, but I'm going to find wherever I put this story. Not that. Hasn't gone, I've had it somewhere. But the first story is of the water leaper. Here it is. Now, the water leaper, or Chlamygen apologies for absolutely butchering that, but the Chlamygen is, as I said, a Welsh species. Now, as mentioned, this isn't a folk tale. It's presented more in the style of, say, a cryptid or a fish story, as in fish story when you caught a fish, rather than, you know, a traditional, oh, once upon a time there was XYZ. No. This is about a dude's experience. Of course, I have never met the dude. The dude made a book. And the dude himself, he never, saw the Chlamygen either. Indeed, it was a friend's father, it was what was it? This man's friend's father, so. But this man's friend's father, he had been fishing in a Helen glass, or Phenon glass, as it were. And this was once upon a time, way back when. As I mentioned, this is a man who's recounting an older friend's father, so not none who are speaking in this tale have ever seen such a beastie, but this friend's father, he had recounted he had seen a great many, tens even, along the banks of Glass. So, what is the Hlenigan either? So, let me set the scene. On the banks of the lake, a man is sat fishing. As he is frequently, but he's not catching anything, not for hours, and each time look at that, it's gone. So has to redo it, move to the bank, cast it out once more, and he pulls up, and there's nothing, not even a hook. So he redoes the line, goes to the bank, throws it in again, and this continues for some time. It is a terrible state of affairs. But he eventually does get a tug on the line. But this is not a fish, unfortunately. No, it is a most frightful pull. And by the gallows, he gave him another pull, with all the force of all his arm, and out it came off with a hook. And as he turned round, and it dashed against the cliff of Benlin, and it blazed like a lightning. Such a terrible sight with a tremendous force. Not to the Flanagan, it must have been the very devil himself. Bear in mind that this cliff, 200 yards from the shore at the very least. But, as terrible as it was, it's not terribly uncommon in those days. Now, what is this beastie he brought up? Well, I mean, you can guess what it looks like from the whole theming of the stream, the type and such. But let's see how well I can draw a frog. Definitely a frog. Well, it looked something like this, but frogs have legs, do they not? But this Flanagan does not. Instead, in place of its legs, wings, and at the back, a tail. Right, yeah. Get the beastie in. But yes, a beastie like that, the most dreadful sight, and most of all, was not the fact that it looks like a weird frog, but its terrible scream that sucked the poor guy's bones, suck him to his bones, petrifying him for a moment. Were it not for his mate being there to grab him, he would have fallen into the water, and that wouldn't have been pleasant. But his mate was there, so didn't have an impromptu bath. Anyway, this beastie no more is it seen around these times. But still, it is not a unknown occurrence. Indeed, the lake was known for eating sheep, let's say. A shepherd would watch over his flock and try to keep them away from the lake if they wander too close, and the Flanagan either take them. And that's his first tale. As I said, more of a cryptid per se than a traditional folklore tale, though it's definitely folklore. But, it's less presented as, say, a story that one would tell to children or even other people, adults. More of a tale told at a bar. And it was a good tale at that, honestly. It's a fun tale, obviously being Welsh. The name's always fun, and I'm always a little bit patriotic about all things British, even though I'm not Welsh myself. And I don't like, as I said, the names are nice. Flanagan, apologies for butchering it, but I don't like saying all the colours, but I looked around for proper pronunciation, and obviously I know a little bit about how to pronounce the words, like double L is but I looked around, and especially for these more, what do you call this, obscure creatures, who naturally aren't heavily recorded, except in oral tale and the writings down of the people who live there. Not a huge amount of people, indeed, so, but, as I said, I know a little bit about pronunciation, so there is that. But yeah, here we see a tale of a cryptid frog just being a menace. I mean, it doesn't share all motifs with the other tales I'll be telling, but it is just a fun story. Just a, it's a classic. There was a frog and it was a menace. It's a little monster tale. We love it. Told at pubs and such, sort of thing. But that was Flanagan either one. The next is now from the UK all the way to China, the Hmong region, the Myao people. It looks like it's pronounced Myao. I don't know the intonation. If I'm so Myao. That was terrible. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. Here is a tale from Hmongism. Hmongism is the practiced religion of the Hmong region and of its people. It's one of the non-Han peoples in China. Hmong historically was used to mean a great many, like as a grouping for people who weren't Han in China, but I mean it's gained a more specified usage due to the region. But yes, this is I mean, it's just that I generally don't. The religion is also known as Kevdabkwas. Again, I am butchering that. It's been ages since I've spoken any tongue language proper, and that's even without the fact that this, I don't even know if it's properly what's the word, intoned that, or even intoned at all. But anyway, so the Hmong are pantheists. They believe in a great many forces, natural and supernatural, influencing the Hmong, and among the region, obviously it's in China, so Chinese influence, you know, stuff like divine bureaucracy is very common, as is multiple roles. But what we're talking about today is the Song of Creation. So here we have it's spelt like this, not like that. And you can tell me how it's pronounced, because I certainly do not know. But this is a divine frog. And this divine frog, at the time of creation, in the Song of Creation, it was this frog who created heaven and earth. This heaven and earth was created in the beginning as a place to be inhabited by humans and spirits, to live peacefully together. However, man, as it tends to be, was full of hubris. Yes, men were full of hubris. The men claimed that the frog was a deceiver, a liar, that it had lied about the size of the wound. The frog had sung that the wound was no larger than the palm of a hand or the sole of a foot. And men thought that was bullshit, and killed the frog. This was a bad idea. The frog, being the creator of everything, was full of divine power and was not happy about being killed. And in its last moments, it let out a dying curse. Humans and spirits shall no longer live together, but would be separated into two worlds further apart. Not only that, but the world of mankind with no sickness, death, alternate heat and rain, and that the leaves shall fall off the trees and die. And that the child of men whom before had been able to rise upon the 13th day after death would lose this ability. And so now people died for real for real. This was not good for man. And so the world of mankind knew disease and death. Death impermanence that would not a death that would not cease after 14 or 15 days, but would be forevermore. That the world would be in alternate heat and rain, never in a state of stability, and yeah, that's what the Song of Creation is about. Of course, it's not the actual Song of Creation. I don't speak Hmong, therefore I can't sing you the Song of Creation. But that's the general story of the Song of Creation. Now, the Song of Creation is funeral rites. There are funeral rites to be said at a funeral, because that's what funeral rites mean. But it is written that let me see, that, I don't know what I was saying. It's written that the Song of Creation is at the last point of a last celebration of a person. That's what I'm talking about. But yes. Now, obviously, as I said, there's a lot of Chinese influence. There's obviously the two worlds, the spirit world and the world of man. Two worlds that a similar motif to many stuff in China, but also lots of beliefs have the other world. I do find it interesting that the finding of death is not that death didn't exist before, but that now death is permanent. Because you'll see other stories like this. Like I mentioned the rabbit in the stream where I talked about rabbit and the moon. How the story of how the rabbit got its slit nose. In that tale, the moon tells man that after you die, you come back like the moon comes back after it rains, because the moon obviously it rains and then becomes full again in a cycle, and the moon was like, this is cool, man should be able to do that too. But the rabbit was like, nah, wouldn't it be funny to tell man that when they died like for real? And so from that point on, people died for real. This is similar in that before death is not the act of bestowing death is not an act of now you can die, but an act of now you can't come back from death. Which is I don't have a wide enough base to say whether death as becoming permanent or death as becoming existent are more common in these stories, but it's interesting either way. Also, here in the frog is in the position of a creator and of someone who bestows and indeed takes away the sort of life. And this is a little more common. This is frogs being associated with resurrection, that is. As mentioned, I didn't really find in the third story I wanted to tell, but I do have some motifs I'd like to talk about. Let's go rid of this. So, yes. The next well, this is sort of a story. This one is about the Whammy from Australia. It's an Aboriginal tale. So, trying to draw a frog head. This is terrible. I tried. So this is supposed to be the Whammy. As you can see, it's no ordinary frog. While this has the head of a frog, it has the body of a guana, which is like a guana, which is like a lizard, but with 6 legs. Frogs with tails being able but yes. Now this Whammy, a cave-dwelling beastie from the Murray River that tramples the riverbanks outside its home. Incredibly stealthy and could kill and eat an entire tribe in but a single meal. Naturally, the locals aren't having this. The water rat tribe, locals of the area, water rat, also known as rabbit or they're funny rodents, if you don't know, but these water rats, they have been sucking at the animals of the Whammy because it's a bit loose, at the sticky tongue, and it keeps running to them. So, the tribe decides that, everyone, all other tribes in the area, we need to band together and get rid of this loose sword. So they gather together all their spears, their axes, their bodies are like a club, or a throwing stick, or both. Whatever is more relevantly and stick. So you gather all they stack the bundles in a massive heap at the entrance, light on fire. This is not great for the Whammy. Smoke does a solid on your lungs, and when it lasts for all 7 days, you can bet that the Whammy was in no fighting state, blinded, suffocating, disoriented, and the tribes take their spears, axes, and bodies, bonk him on the head, cut him apart, and the region is find loads of frogs. There's a ton of frogs. There's frog yokai. There's the three-legged toad, which is representative of the moon. They're lucky.